William Shakespeare wrote in Macbeth, "By the pricking in my thumbs, something wicked this way comes." This is SkyWatch TV for Thursday, March 17th, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. I don't know if something bad is coming, but there's no question that for thousands of years, oracles and seers have pointed to the very period of time in which we live today as being especially significant. What does it mean? How do we as Christians process it? Especially when researchers using complicated computer algorithms are apparently finding messages encoded in the first 5 books of the Bible that seem to confirm those messages. Joining us via Skype from Los Angeles, the producer and director of the film Torah Codes End to Darkness, and one of the men featured in the film, author of more than 30 books in Hebrew and a leading researcher into gematria and the Torah codes, Richard Shaw and Rabbi Matthew Glazerson. Gentlemen, welcome. Now, Richard, you contacted me just yesterday, 2 days ago, actually, by the time this is broadcast, with the news that Rabbi Glazerson was flying to Los Angeles from Jerusalem. What was the content of his message that was so important that he made this flight across the ocean?
Well, I was surprised. He called me like on Sunday. He said, "I'm coming to see you. I have to show you what I found." And I said, "Okay." And the next thing I know, he's calling me Monday night, and he's here. So it was amazing to me that he would go to such trouble to show us what his discovery was. But it's all about the 5776 and the related tables in regards to that. And so I'd like to introduce everyone to my friend Rabbi Glazerson. He's going to come up and sit with me here. He towers over me normally. But Rabbi Glazerson has become a tremendous asset. He's like a walking dictionary of anything Jewish mystical texts, the Torah codes, I mean, all of these things.
In my books also.
Yeah, and he's written how many
25,
books? 25.
In English, about 25.
He's written 25 books.
All to do with the Hebrew language, to show the insight of the Hebrew language, the secrets behind.
It's
Amazon.com. This is my books.
He has a book on gematria, too, if someone doesn't understand how that works. All of his books are really interesting. He did a book on 2012, too, after we kind of did codes on that, and went into some great depth on that I thought was really kind of intriguing. But anyway, he knows things about these ancient texts that I had never heard before. And, you know, sometimes I think the Christian community has drifted so far from its roots that we don't know about these things and shouldn't immediately discount them right off the bat without looking into them. And I think they're really intriguing. So now he's brought all these tables that, first of all, I want to preface all of this to say that we're not making predictions. We don't know why this is happening. We don't know, as I've said many times, these numbers keep coming up. And now we're finding the skips of the ELS, of equidistant letter sequencing, the skips between each letter have a skip of 5,776 characters. When we look up the words that we want to know what's going to happen this year. I mean, I have no explanation for it, so it kind of makes the hair stand up on your arms a little bit.
And we should point out that 5,776, the Jewish year, is the year in which we are right now.
16.
Yes. Well, Rabbi Glazerson, Richard shared some of the tables that you had sent to him, and it appears as though they're pointing to something happening very, very soon, like within the next 7 days. Am I reading this correctly?
Around Purim time, yeah.
And Purim begins the evening of Wednesday the 23rd and continues through the evening of Thursday the 24th of March, correct?
Yeah, in fact, there are 2 days Purim, because in Jerusalem, Purim is one, it's called Shushan Purim. Because Purim really is celebrated in 2 dates. Once in places which were surrounded by a wall from the time of Joshua. If you heard about it, you are familiar with this?
Yes.
Because so it means in Jerusalem, instead of the 14th of Adar, it will be on the 15th. So it almost fits with the 26th of March. They speak about Nibiru, because I think for a long time already they point out to this date, 26th of March, which is exactly after the day of Purim, which itself is interesting.
Well, we've been hearing prophecies, or, well, I should say predictions about Nibiru, Planet X, for quite some time. It was a surprise to me to see that word Nibiru was showing up in the Torah codes.
I think 50 years ago they started. I think it was the time that they started about Nibiru. 50 years ago. Yes, that is a long time.
Actually, we have tables on Planet X from going back several years when we first started talking about this. I didn't know if the name Nibiru would come up in the Torah codes or not, but it's now we see it's come up multiple times and next to other dates and events within close proximity of them, which is kind of hard to explain. Like the particular table I have up right now says Nibiru, the star, 5776, Mashiach Purim, which is Messiah at Purim, and the skip of that axis keyword phrase, Mashiach Purim, is 5,776 characters.
Another clue pointing at the current year.
Yes.
But it's important to point out that in Judaism, to get Messiah, Mashiach is not enough, the date. Jews have to behave properly, which is called repentance, to repent, which keeping Torah properly, not to transgress it. So therefore, sometimes you see dates of Messiah, and unfortunately, Messiah is not there. It means that Jews, unfortunately, are not ready for it yet.
I see. So the people have to be properly prepared for Messiah to appear.
Yeah, but it means that dates, once this is a date for Messiah, it means it is more appropriate than others. You see, this is what is important to know. It means that every day Messiah can come, but once you have this date for Messiah, it means this is a really appropriate time, which is really repentance has not to be so strong in order to get him. You see, but still repentance you need. So this is why in many of my tables, when Messiah comes, Purim and so on, really very clear, come next to it this verse in Hebrew, Teshuvah, in repentance. You see, important to know.
So have you been seeing more of these tables lately? And if so, is it because you're looking for this particular word, or are you being led to it more often? What is the significance of this now? And is it something that you're seeing more of in your research recently?
Yeah, recently more and more things coming out. And really what I want very much to show with details is this is the table which struck me. And this is really almost was the reason that I came, because it is so obvious.
And which table was that?
This was about the light of the 5776. Very important. Very important table. And because it fits with
Noon will shine, right?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
He needs to explain that. You're going to have a table. You have a table from me, Derek, that I sent you.
No, I have to explain it properly because
he needs to explain it. But let me just point out which table it is, which one to put up. It says Moshiach will shine, and it has some interesting things in there. It says the time, and the time is a phrase is an expression used for the end of days, pretty much, or the end of time. And then the whole sentence says, noon will shine from 5776. And
the noon, you see the noon is a letter in Hebrew which represents 50, the number 50. Are you familiar with every numerical value? Every Hebrew letter, like Aleph is 1.
Mm-hmm.
Noon, the letter noon is 50. Now 50 is a number which represents like completion, whether it's understanding or light, brightness. So noon is 50, and mystically, really, it represents the highest level of understanding, of brightness. In fact, I wrote a book, very interesting, a book can be achieved on Amazon.com, which is Hebrew source of language. It means I try to show something which universities in the state now agree, part of them, that Hebrew is a source of all languages. Difficult to understand it, but so I wrote a book, Hebrew source, and what I showed there, one of the examples is the letter Nun, because the letter Nun, 50, represents brightness, shining. And I said, in English, noontime is the brightest time of the day.
Right.
So noon goes with the letter Nun, you see. So what we have here is a sentence which says that the letter Nun, when the Nun, the brightness, will come out from the year 5776. When I saw this, and the skip is 576 between letter to letter. So this is very far for being, coincidence. You know, the statistic for it can be 1 to millions.
And I was sharing with him yesterday a New Testament passage that says, by the splendor of his coming, you know which passage, Derek, that is, which is also referring to light.
Exactly, because light, yeah.
So it's something we can kind of, it's enough to make you smile at least.
Sure, this is remarkable. Now, how do we interpret this then with the I guess the interpolation of the codes indicating the arrival of Mashiach with the arrival of Nibiru? I mean, how do we interpret that?
You see, because there are many signs, in Kabbalah, in the Zohar, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Zohar.
The Zohar, Kabbalah, Shun Bar Yochai, yeah? Which tell you signs before Messiah, what will be in the world. And a lot of it is about coming out of stars. Very interesting. You see, it's written that stars will come out in different ways before the Messiah. It means these are the signs of Messiah, coming of Messiah. You see, so therefore, the idea of Nibiru, which people speak so much about, fits very much with this the Zohar, And this is why we're looking for it, and it came in very, very significant way, you see.
The signs in the sky.
And very important to point out, really, that when speaking about Nibiru, this itself brings to the table. It means the tables, very important to know that all the idea of codes, Torah codes, is like the Torah, we believe the Torah, 5 books of Moses, were the blueprint of creation. Which means that when God planned to create a world, he was looking into the Torah, and in fact he made like the pilots today before flying, they prepare, all the way.
The flight plans.
The destination, the same thing God did. It means he took the Torah, right? And in the Torah, he put all these plans, It means what we see in the codes is exactly what was planned. You understand? So if we see that in 5776 so and so will be, it means that part of the plan of creation was that this will happen. This is very, very important to know what codes are. It's not like a game, It is
sure.
It can get really complicated, but essentially what we're finding here and what we talked about on the show when I was able to come see you was that we're finding interwoven codes at the same time, like Torah codes as one part of something that was encoded, and then gematria that's encoded, and then even the skips in the Torah codes themselves could be a form of gematria itself. So it's like almost like 3D encoding of a text that's 308,000 letters long. It's amazing. I mean, how would you do that?
Well, not by any natural means, that's for sure. The thing that strikes me is it almost comes across as though it were the software program, the operating system for all of creation.
Right, exactly. And the interesting thing is I've asked the rabbis and also Professor Reps, have you found codes in other books? And the answer that I got from most of them is that, well, we found isolated words in other books, but we don't find what we find in the Torah. The Torah is completely unique, where you've got words that are like touching, and you have best pairs of words together that mean something. I mean, that's unusual. I mean, we did find, who found Obama in Ezekiel 38? Was that?
It was.
Give the credit to the correct person.
I don't know even who found it.
It was on Dorn Whitstom's.
No.
But he didn't find it.
No. There's somebody found it out. But it's interesting to point out that even though the main idea of codes is in the Torah, but you can find sometimes isolated words in the Bible. But it is like, it is like support to the idea of the Torah. This you can find, because we have a principle that verses in the Bible or words in the Bible supports the idea of the Torah.
Right.
So it means what we found, the fact that we found Obama, we found only Obama by itself. Every 7 letters, exactly the prophecy of Gog and Magog, exactly comes there, and exactly the word Nasi, president, coming there. It means this is like a support to an idea which comes fully really in the codes of the Torah.
What also we were referring to is that the name Obama appears every 7 letters in the 38th chapter of Ezekiel.
This is interesting.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's only every 7 letters. It's not every 3,000 letters or every 1,123 letters. It's 7 letters.
And number 7 is significant.
Yes, it is.
And so you wouldn't even need a computer to find it if you knew where it started.
Yeah. Now, Rabbi Glazerson, I know that there are people who are skeptical or critical of this work. How often do you find people trying to take this work and make it into something that it is not? In other words, try to use this as a way to see the future.
You see, again, about seeing the future, even though, you see, a lot of my tables about Obama being elected, yeah? Mm-hmm. You can see clearly, if you put in the internet, Barack Obama, president in the state, I found it about 2-3 months before. So it is not so much prediction in this case because it was already at the background, the candidates were there. In fact, the second time I found, and Professor Haralik also found that will be elected. Another thing which I found before, it was that Netanyahu will be elected, even though most of the people did not think about it. They thought about somebody else. But I put about 3 weeks ago, before, I clearly all the details that Obama and Netanyahu will be elected to a prime minister.
Put all the key words down. Bibi Netanyahu will be elected March 17th, and just to see if those words would appear in a code table, and they did. So, he told me that was on February the 9th, and he was elected on March 17th. It all was exactly correct.
One could see it, that is the date.
But I have to say that doesn't always happen. So, we have to look at these things carefully. This isn't a crystal ball. We're not trying to, use the Torah as some kind of,
magic 8 ball.
Yeah, no, it's not that way. It's not that. But nevertheless, it is interesting to see this stuff encoded in there and wonder why it's there, especially when you have, there's the one we just were looking at before we got on here with you. It's basically, it said the code will be distributed 5775, referring to the film that we did together.
Right.
And it has my name, Richard Shaw, on that table right under that line of text. The code will be distributed, and it's like, how do you make that up? How do you do that
after letter?
Well, Rabbi Glazerson, unfortunately, we have limited time for this program, but I do want to ask you, how do you interpret the codes that have been coming up that seem to point to Purim, Nibiru, and Mashiach? What do you make of all of this?
You see, the first thing is that people speak about it all over when you look. So the date is coming out 26th of March, which is Purim. You see, so it's amazing that Purim comes in this table with Nibiru, very small skip, every 3 letters, every 4 letters. In fact, I would like very much, Richard, to show you and to analyze this table of the enlightenment or the light which will come on the year 5776, because all the details there, is written that divinity will be revealed, and Purim, it means that so many words are connected there, which is really very, very far from being coincidence.
And then we did a table on Donald Trump, since we had so many requests about that. We got an amazing number of words that came up on Trump. Some with the plain text said of murder threats, for president. It basically says he's a candidate in 5776, 2016.
Right.
It's amazing. I don't know what he was saying about predicting Obama's election. That was the first time in 2008, and they did 2 tables. They did one on Obama and they did one on McCain, and Obama's table was obviously the strongest of the 2.
Yeah. Professor Haralik did, right.
Yeah. Now, Rabbi Glazerson, I ask this for my own education because I know very little, far less about Judaism than I should. I've done some study of Christian prophecy, but know very little about the expectations of what Jews expect when Messiah returns, or Mashiach. How will you know when he arrives? Are you looking for in Mashiach to know that he is who he claims to be when he arrives?
No, it's written that when he will come, when he will arrive, all the signs about him will come out, because we have the signs. He will be able to even to build the temple. It means there are many things about his power that people will realize that he knows. His knowledge is about all the Torah, and there are many things that he's supposed to have, and this will be known. When the time will come. So the information about it will come also. You see.
And there's also the Old Testament prophecy that where they're expecting to see Elijah before the Messiah comes. And that's intriguing. I mean, that's actually in the Tanakh. And, then, of course, we have John the Baptist that happened later. But this is like another time. So, we're actually wondering if, some of Rabbi Glazerson's tables have Elijah in them.
Yeah. Elijah and Messiah very often come together.
Elijah and Messiah come together, he was saying,
often, right.
in many of these tables, which is kind of intriguing, actually.
Well, I would just pray that his return, that his coming, is soon, and that we will all, recognize him for who he is when he arrives.
Many great rabbis said in Israel, the really top rabbis, Kabbalists say that we are very, very near to the time. It's really, they say he's on the step door, right on the door, opening the door soon. So,
we've been seeing that and paying attention to that as well, and we are awaiting Messiah as the whole world, I think, whether they know it or not, is waiting for him, and very soon.
Yeah, we need it very much.
Never's been a time like this.
Yeah.
Where the Muslims are looking for the 12th Imam, Christians are looking for Yeshua, and the Jews are looking for Mashiach. It's all like something's got to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're reaching critical mass here.
Well, it's fascinating work. Rabbi Glazerson, it's been an honor to speak with you, sir. We appreciate your work, and we make it available to people. Where should people go to find and follow the research that you're doing?
You see, the first thing, we have a lot of books in English about the codes. Amazon.com, definitely, if they put my name, Glazerson.com. In Amazon, only Glazerson, the author, then they see about 6 books of mine about the Hebrew, all the secrets of the Hebrew language, very interesting. And then they will have also books on codes, on Torah codes, which I did with Professor Aralik, which I did with Dr. Rothenberg. So there's a lot of material, really, which one can see when you put this. My site also, I have my site, Glazerson.com.
He's done how many Torah code YouTube videos have you put out?
Oh, about 5,000.
So plenty there for people. We'll make sure we get the...
It's like Richard told you, good idea. If people want to know, if they put in YouTube a Bible called Glazerson, any subject they want, if you put Glazerson, a Bible called Glazerson,
he's
whatever
flooded
they
the
want,
market.
every topic they want, is also a musician, by the way. I'm a musician, compose songs and play violin. So I have a book about music and Kabbalah, trying to show the connection between the music and the spheres and Kabbalah, music Kabbalah. Also, my book are translated to Russian, to many other French, many languages, because today the interest in mysticism, is great.
Yes.
So anything which you show about it, so people like. So
and then, of course, for the people who are new to the codes, the film we did together is an easy way to get into this without wading through hundreds of pages of text.
Yes. Well, Richard, Rabbi Glazerson, and again, an honor and fascinating conversation, and we look forward to seeing more of what you discover, and we thank you for sharing your time with us today.
Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
A couple of quick notes in the news. Of course, the big news this week out of the Middle East is that Russia has announced it's withdrawing troops from Syria. It appears now that they will not withdraw all of their troops. Looks like Russia will keep its air base in northwestern Syria near Latakia and the naval base at Tartus. Meanwhile, in response to the news, the al-Nusra Front, one of the rebel groups fighting the Syrian government, has promised a new offensive. However, they will be facing upgraded military hardware, high-end tanks and artillery. The Syrian army receiving those courtesy of Moscow. Big winners in Tuesday's presidential primary elections, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Our friend Pastor Casper McLeod sent this along, thought I would find it interesting. It's a screen capture from a sharp-eyed observer on Tuesday night. Noticed that the CBS report of the vote count in Illinois showed that 101% of the votes were shared between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. Now, I grew up in Chicago, and that's no surprise to me. It was many, many years before I realized that vote early, vote often was a joke and not actual advice from the Cook County Election Commission. On SkyWatch TV, we are expanding your choices on the SkyWatch TV channel on Roku. New programs there include Into the Multiverse with Josh Peck. SkyWatch Women now released its first interview. Sharon K. Gilbert, my best friend, my wife, and Nita Horn sat down for a one-on-one discussion. And Sci Friday now has its own option there on the main page at the SkyWatch TV Roku channel. If you haven't added that to your Roku account yet, we've got instructions online posted at skywatchtv.com/Roku. And the SkyWatch TV podcast gives you a good portable option. If you want to drive, mow the lawn, work out, or whatever, something that doesn't involve sitting in front of a video screen, you can take the audio versions of all of our programs from SkyWatch TV with you in your MP3 player. The SkyWatch TV podcast page is linked in the top menu bar there at skywatchtv.com, and there are links at the page so you can automatically subscribe and have those audio files automatically download to your computer to transfer over to your iPod or other MP3 player. Tom Horn's interview about his book Zenith 2016, where we discuss the many predictions and oracles about this year. That's our featured program on SkyWatch TV this week. 2 more chances for you to catch it. Saturday afternoon on the Victory Television Network, 3:30 p.m. Central Time. That's Arkansas and the Memphis area. And then coast to coast, Saturday night on the Christian Television Network. You can watch that if you've got satellite television, the Glory Star Satellite Channel 117, Direct TV Channel 376, and Dish Network Channel 267, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. The Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference offering a video streaming option. If you can't get to the conference, you can bring the conference to you. 2 options. You can, well, actually 3. You can sign up for either the main room, the Aspen breakout room, or buy both and get a discount. And those videos will be archived for 6 weeks after the conference, so you can go back and watch them at your convenience. Your support is crucial to us at SkyWatch TV. We depend on it, and we appreciate it. And, of course, we'd like to thank you for it. This month, our gift to you for your support of $20 or more, the DVD by Alan Keyes and Alan Sears, America's Courts, Progress and Peril. Very timely, as President Obama has nominated a replacement to Justice Antonin Scalia, who recently passed. That plus this keepsake wall plaque, yours for a donation of $20 or more during March while supplies last. Instructions and donation link posted at skywatchtv.com/donate. And, of course, your mouse finger can help us as well. Find us online at skywatchtv.com. Our links to our social media sites, Twitter and Facebook, and, of course, our official YouTube channel are posted there. Click share, click like, click subscribe, and share the word with your friends. And, of course, you can send your comments, questions, and suggestions to me, D. Gilbert, at skywatchtv.com. Tomorrow, Science, Sci Friday, as Sharon joins me in studio to talk about the science news of the week. Until then, thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.
From the time she was little, Nita dreamed of horses. Every childhood fantasy rode on the back of a heroic white steed, coming to save the day.
I don't know how long I've had this love in my heart for horses. It's just always been there. And when we were little girls, my sister and I would play all day long. I was always the white horse and she was always the little pink pig. But everything changed in a heartbeat. On December 9th, 1971, a tragic car accident claimed the life of my dad and my best friend and my little sister. And I wondered after that if there was anything left to believe in.
Move aside, let the ambulance through. Please move aside.
As a child of 13, I felt like I had lost practically everything. And I wondered, is this it? I mean, where do I go from here? I could not have imagined back then how God could use horses, of all things, to restore my faith and vision for the future.
Starting April 19th, get your copy of Nita Horn's inspirational new book, No Fences, and learn for the first time her amazing story of loss, survival, determination, and healing. How the vision and love God gave her for these beautiful and majestic animals eventually led to the 150-acre Whispering Ponies Ranch, a general retreat facility, as well as a premier training location that specializes in using and gifting therapeutic animals to benefit the herding. Other care facilities, schools, and ministries across the nation.
When God puts something in your heart, it's there for a lifetime.